Hey, it's Amanda from LHL Organizing, and today I'm going to do a little tax prep for you. So this is not a video on preparing to see your accountant. This is a video actually on documenting and creating the record, the digital record of your tax proof. I'm prepping that up right in front of you. Let's talk about my taxes a little bit. I am a sole proprietor, so I do a Schedule C in my taxes, which means that I have quite a few write-offs that I can take advantage of, but they have to be backed by some proof. Scans of receipts have been accepted for quite a while. Another thing that you would usually hang on to is like the checks that you were paid with, if you were paid with a check, or some kind of an income transaction record. So I use Square as my primary accounting software, if you will, except that I take payments through PayPal sometimes. This last year I did. I always have to print a statement out for the whole year's summary for Square as well as from PayPal. My bank statement does not, even though I'm doing the scan the check for deposit, it does not keep that scan in the statement. So I get a little deposit-y slip looking thing in there. That really only covers me sort of 80%. I don't have a lot of transactions, and you can map them based on their value and the dates to the correct deposit slip, but it doesn't say who it's from, it doesn't say the check number, it doesn't say any information other than the amount and the date. And the amount will match, but the date will not match exactly. In Square, I use the check number for the customer I put it in a memo line manually to make sure that we can one-to-one line up transactions. So I've sort of got it covered on one side. It's like I've got 7% covered over here, 80% covered over there, and we don't have that little gap that lets you go, for sure, this is this. So if there were a lot of transactions coming through, that would by itself not be enough. So I'm just gonna be overcautious here. There's no harm in it. We're gonna scan all of the paperwork that I get from invoices and checks, and then physical checks, faces, so that we have a record of all of the income that came in. So we have the overall statement out of Square and PayPal. And PayPal, I won't have a physical check, right? But the Square things, a lot of those I get paid with check. So we're gonna have the check to back that up as well. So that's all the income side. So that's what we're gonna do now, is collect and combine and digitize. Here is my packet of proof for my 2023 taxes. And this is the overall form that was resulted from that. And I have another packet for 2024. And I do really like, when the year is ongoing and you haven't finished your taxes yet, to keep the paper copies in a folder similar to this, where you can just enclose everything. So we're gonna do that with 2024, but we also have the Square sales summary for the year from January 1st to December 31st of 24. 2 pages for that. And then we've got PayPal. And I don't know why I had not that many transactions, but yet PayPal printed 3 pages. No, 2 pages. So they're subcategorizing as well. But these are the incomes, and then we need to find checks to go with them. 24. All right, so good thing we found that. The folder is not part of it, but that's how much paperwork we have for taxes for my business, being a service-based business that I do large jobs mostly. And then this was 2023. So we'll be able to cut this all down substantially. I'm gonna do PayPal second. We're gonna put PayPal in order, but we're gonna do Square first because it's my primary method for tracking income. I think I actually have these as electronic documents though. They would have been printed initially electronically. So that's where we need to show you the other side of this, which is my computer. We're gonna have to do some screenshots. With my HP scanner is that you can name everything, but they make it very difficult. And so a lot of times we have to come in here, and this is where the new scans we did are gonna be. So we're gonna have to come in here and name these. From here up is gonna be our new scans. I'm gonna name those off the recording just because I don't want you guys seeing private information on the income, and the receipts maybe are not so bad, but I'm going to do that off screen, and then what we're going to do is try to combine some. So put all the months together in one folder, and then we will bring that one folder in, sub the chapters as months, and bring it in as one file as a support document. That's the plan. Okay, so we officially have everything named over here. And it looks like I had no May checks and had split the April. Just confirm that real quick with the paper. Yes, somehow we split the one April off and then have no Mays, and that is correct. Go here. So what we want to do, and I have lost access to my full license because stupid Windows 11, but what I want to see is if we can combine. So I'm going to look for a free program. Free PDF binder, I guess, whatever. Edit merge with PDF file filler. I feel like I already have no software needed. Adobe Acrobat merge. I don't know why I find this a little suspicious, but it is Adobe's domain. Very weird to me. Okay, so we have these in this drive. Over here, and we want to combine December and the January checks in that order. I would like them to reverse. Maybe I needed to do that first. Nope, looks like it's putting in them in order. These we need to move. April 30th. Yep, that'll be behind the Aprils. We go March, April, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Now this is why we use the year dash the number of the month, because otherwise it would sort alphabetically, and August and April would be coming before all these other months that are actually before them. So that's why we use the numbers, just for filtering to work correctly. And you need to use the same number of digits. That's why we have 09 instead of just -9. Otherwise 9 would come after 1. So that's what we're doing. We'll see if this will merge them correctly or charge me or what it's going to do. Okay, we're going to download it. It's being a little suspicious, so we're going to go and take out the January now. It's 2024 checks to LHL combined. That's okay. And we're going to go, oh yeah, we did want to be in support docs. That's convenient. It remembered. Okay, let's see if it will work. That's the one we want. Let's see if it's there. Yes, it is. We're going to have to bleep out some private information. We have multiple pages here. Okay, perfect. Guys, it would not let me add chapters for free. They are now charging for this, so I would guess that some other free service is picking up that benefit, but it's not worth it to me to go into a trial or a paid anything in order to do that. So we're not going to separate by months. But if you had Acrobat, the full Acrobat, you could do that. I used to have it, like I said, and I liked it a lot, but it's way too expensive to have a monthly fee for that, so I ain't doing it. And it's useful to have these receipts in different categories because they are defined as different categories inside your Schedule C. They all fall under different categories. So I think it's useful to leave them separate. So we're going to skip that piece. What we need to do now is see what other tax categories we may have already saved down files. Because if you remember, okay, this is the document we filed. This is the estimated payments. This is the state. So inside the business, I am not seeing the saved version of either the Square invoice or the PayPal invoice. So, not invoice, but report, right? And I don't see any sign of it in here. We need to go collect our Square invoices. I don't know. That's interesting that I just printed it instead of... Okay, well, come along with me and we will do Square invoicing. Gotcha, we timed out. That's cool. That's cool, that's cool. Goodbye. Let's sign in. Okay, so it's heading to appointments, which isn't really what we want. Well, we need our reports. I'm going to do my best here not to put any private information. We went last year, so it's going, you can see here automatically 1/1 to 12/31 of 2024, which is what we want. So this is the report where it's going to tell us gross sales, net sales, by day of the week. But again, when I'm getting a check in the mail, it gets deposited on the weekend sometimes. So that's not accurate either. And this is the day within the year when the money came in. And so because of the invoicing, that's why you're seeing spikes where it's like for that whole week no work and then bam. So the invoices are the spikes. And taking checks on in the middle is really... I'm going to export this. Sorry. I don't want it to label it like that. We're going to do 2024 Square sales data. And yes, we want it in support documents, but what the heck? What? We can't have it canceled. Okay. Let's do a print because I'd rather have it as a print. And that is, yeah, that's, wow. Really? McAfee? You turd. Nobody likes you anyway. Go away. Alright, yeah, that was showing up on here. That might be why I had that other little phantom thing hanging out. So we're going to save this. It's going to be our Square 2024 Square sales summary, wasn't it? Sales report. So that is a big income driver. Save. I'm just going to show you. I have here, it'll pop out 1099Ks if you earned over, and I think the limit is 5,000. They're talking about dropping it to 600. So you'd watch out for it here, but I obviously have nothing. I did not earn that much in this year. So what we were actually looking for was, gotta recreate our steps. How do we do it? It was in full reports, activity, all reports. So I could do a transaction level one, but that's what got us to this screen. It has across the top all of this. Now, because I didn't do any activity in this, that is not a form we can use. So I went to the financial summary report and selected the 2024 year in US dollars and create the report. This gives us
the money earned in 2024. So this is actually the report that I had used to do my taxes. And it turns out I saved these in my personal budget account, which is a little confusing, obviously. Find it there. Let's do better report. So, download reports. As a PDF, that's what we're going to do. If you wanted to do analysis on it, you would want to probably put it in Excel. Summary. And let's pop that sucker over to the tax file, which is a budget, under taxes in 2024. So I think I maybe have moved the other one anyway, but let's see if I did. Was this the one we saved yesterday? It looks like it is. Okay. And then I did not move another one over. So I have been picking up some other receipts from that file once I found it and threw it in there too, but that gives us the actual report that we were looking for the other day. So here's PayPal's reports.
And then we have the expenses, which we have the utility reimbursement, we're going to call it. So it's the cost of the rental of this space here, which is where I do my business. It is an office only. So this square footage part of my house, I get to deduct. And so we need proof of what that is as well. So we have the assessor's printout to show us what the total tax on this property was, and based on the assessed square footage and all that. And then that becomes the basis for the square footage of this room, and that's the method that I'm using for deducting the office. And then it's a percentage of utility bills. I honestly do think the utility bills list in my bank statements is enough. I don't think I really have to keep the utility bills scans. I never have in the past. You could call that a gap, but it's not like they really tend to tell us any more information than the total cost in the month. So I think we're really going to be fine on that front. So I will always do a printout of my personal checking account for the whole year and my bank account for the whole year. And the personal checking is really there for the utilities, such as gas, electric, trash service, water. The property tax will have come out of the personal side. So I have the whole printout of all transactions all year long. That would cover that side of it. And then we have the business account, all transactions from the beginning to the end, and I do that in an Excel sheet, and that I would keep also as the records. So that doesn't itemize anything. So it works fine for utilities, but it doesn't work fine for purchases at a store, for instance, because we don't know how many units of what went to what. If you're breaking down that some of it's office, some of it is supplies for the job, that type of category, you need some more detail in order to do that. So probably you wouldn't get a whole lot of pushback if, for instance, the Container Store showed up and it's $267, and I can show on my invoice that I charged that $267 to the client, and it's just a one-to-one transaction over. I really don't think they're going to argue with that, but I go ahead and keep the receipts for that reason. So we'll have some receipts of products to back up, as well as office supplies, and then we'll also have that full printed list of the categories. And that's what I actually take the accountant and we use for deductions, is that like subcategories summarized, right? So I do get electronic receipts for most of the other things that I buy, such as courses, training stuff. I think the BBB, Better Business Bureau, sends the bill electronically. I don't think I physically get a bill. My insurance sends me a physical after, what do they call that? A receipt of payment afterwards, I believe. It might be an advance notice, it might be an after, but I get one. So yeah, almost everything else is electronic anyway. And so you can save those down as you come across them. And I usually save by month. It's in a financial folder and then save by month. For the end of the year, we're just going to wrap everything up into one. So what I'm planning on doing is we're going to do the mileage logs as 1 month at a time, creating them, and then I'm going to bind them together in a PDF as one for the whole year. And we can sub-chapter it by month. What else is there? We have the mileage logs as proof. We have the room as proof. What else do we need? The training. I'll have to get the training receipts from online and save them down. That'll be actually 2025, so we don't even have to do that. I don't think I have any from last year. And Angie's list, those leads are showing up in the bank statements. I don't feel there's a need to go. I think I can go on their platform and run a report and it'll tell me how many leads I got, but that really isn't something that the IRS is going to care about. They're just going to see the total billed. And then there's an annual fee, and they label it different, so that is also discernible. So we have lead fees that we have to worry about. Thumbtack, same thing. And then Better Business Bureau, so that's like memberships. Okay, so the others would be all electronic. So it's the website hosting, the domain names, Constant Contact, which is my CRM, and then Square appointments, but that's this year, so I won't have that in the past. So yeah, I think those are going to be our essentials. I'm scanning in my mileage logs. So I have these little calendars by year, and the months are separated here, but in each day I can write down where I was and what the odometer reading was. And so that is something that I also need to do as proof, so I can throw away the books because these are not going to be handy to hang on to. Where was our app? Here it is. Okay, and now we're doing February. So this is actually the end of January, moving into February. Got a great capture of my foot. It just moved itself over. That's cool. We love that. Okay, position screen. It's not loving that. Did you get it or did you not get it? It's having some issues with that one. Okay, so now we're on to the 12th. And the next week is the 19th. Did it get it? I don't think it got it. And now we've learned that we can duplicate pages or delete individual pages, so don't have to worry too much about that. Something is causing it some issues. This went a lot better before, so I'm not sure what it's picking up on that's freaking it out, but okay, so that was the end of February. Call that done. And I should have previewed, but the writing looks good. So again, can you see that? We're gonna go 2025-02, whoops, not 32, mileage log scan. I think that's what I called it last time. And then we're gonna send it. It's going to the right place. We're good there. We just need to keep going with this. We're just gonna knock the rest of this out and I'll see you in a bit. Everybody, hopefully you can hear me. I don't think I set everything up correctly, so this is where my documents for work were supposed to show up when I scanned with Rocketbook, and it turns out that I had an error in this folder's name. I didn't say Rocketbook notes, I said notes, and therefore they didn't show up. So I had to go back into the Rocketbook app and change the destination folder name, correct that, and then go back in and reset all of these to send. I also hadn't turned on the
I forget what they call it, this conversion into text. So you can see it's not perfect. Like this is mail plus. Then I definitely do skip writing odometer readings next to some things that are like in a row. And then I don't think I have anything that says name and then and mileage. So that doesn't really make sense. I think it misspelled home on one of the documents too, but it's not too bad. So I might have stopped in there. And then this is Hallie, which might have been the thing. I thought there was a Y. I don't know. Let's see here. Do we have anything saying another scooters? Yes. Okay. So meeting, that should have been a G, not a Y. Gen B at scooters. So it did pretty good with that. And then there is this floaty mileage that I drew down to scooters. So chances are pretty good it read that before the meeting, but it might be on the same line and it's okay. This is Pinnacle Bank, which was nearby. Don't know if that number picked up correctly because that's obviously a little bit, the 393. So it may not be correct. The homes look to be good. Mail Plus, look at that. I actually didn't put the L in there. So it did a very good job with that. That was an oopsie on my part. It kind of sorted them in order. But it looks like we're going to have to either move them into one folder and download the folder, which is a move folder. Let's try it. New folder within here. We're going to call it 2024 mileage log, not logs, log scan. Zip. Create. And let's go ahead and move that. I think we can drag and drop and then probably go a little easier. Let's just do it. Drag and drop, my friends, drag and drop. So we're going to try to do this just to streamline the process of downloading and saving it where we need it. So I don't know why. I thought it used to let you select multiple documents and do something, one action to multiple documents, but I don't see that option anymore. So this is where we're going with the Google Drive Rocketbook documents. So this is the mileage. I don't think we scanned anything else through Rocketbook. So we're going to go ahead and download this. Why are you? Didn't like that, did it? Download. Oh, okay. Sorry. It's popping up over here. So we have the mileage scans. We're going to delete off this random number it puts on the end. We're not actually doing that at all. So, okay, over here, is it inactive? I think it is. So I have a budget folder. And then this was 2024, but we're putting it with taxes. So here we go. We have a 2024 folder, and we want to do support docs. And this is our mileage scans. So we're just saving that into the tax folder.
Okay, so we finished all of the income scanning in checks, and now we're headed to receipts. So I've categorized the receipts by the type of deductible they were. So some are customer supplies for the project, and then others are office supplies, and then I have taking out cash for a vendor and parking. So we're gonna go ahead and scan those in by category. And I should be able to get most of them on one scan per, so that should be good. And then we have more expenses. So this is the assessor's information about my house. And there's excess information in there than what you really need for tax purposes, but it gives you a basis. So it says how many square feet. I'm going to keep the checklist in there as well so that while I'm making everything a digital copy, I make sure that I got all of the bases covered there. So these are not income yet. These are all expenses. The checklist is kind of your overall guide. These are expenses as well. So these are from the personal checking, again, a summary of what expenses are relevant that I can deduct, like the utilities. We definitely have these as well, but we wouldn't have all the notes underneath, and I think we want those. So we're gonna scan those. Because it turns out there were some categories I didn't know ahead of time that I needed to track. It's gonna be upside down, I bet you anything. And then I don't know that I have copies of receipts, so we're gonna definitely do copies of receipts, and we're gonna do, this is the marketplace thing that you just kind of need for your personal side of things. And now you can deduct for your business as well. I think that's new. I didn't see that last year, but, and then also this is property related. So let's tuck that back there. That's how much I was billed in property taxes. Okay, and then this is the checklist. Okay, so we have officially scanned in, we have officially scanned in everything in the 2024 packet. So what I want to do next is show you how on the computer I compile these items together. So some of these are going to be Dropboxed. Well, not really Dropboxed, sorry. Some of these will have been sent from Rocketbook to my Google Drive for my business, hopefully, if it worked right. And then some of them are on the thumb drive attached to the printer that we'll have to grab, and then others are just going to be saved to files. And we're going to make essentially one file right there with the actual official tax record, all in one place.
Inside here, it looks like we have not yet moved any. We've got the scans in the zip folder, which is perfectly fine. They don't take a lot of space that way. We've got the checks combined, so what we do need to do is move these other files out of the scans. So it starts from office supply, and we need the vehicle registration and all of that jazz. Is there anything before? Yes, we need that health record, we need the property assessment, and these checking account categories. So we're just going to cut them out of here and pop them on over here. That leaves us these individual ones that we could move into our business files if we want to, or just completely delete them. So here's a lot of our backups. So the things that we don't have in here are, how many levels out do you think I gotta go? You're gonna have to get out to 24. And then get in here, financial, that should be broken down by month. So we want to see profit and loss statements, container store receipt summary. So you can see here I did actually do some receipts. It looks like in batches basically. Okay, I basically had to edit all this out, so just gonna run this down. We have the first or the last one of the year. This the client paid for directly. This one the client might have paid for directly, but it was run through my trade account and not part of business stuff. This one, same thing, but I saved it in my business receipts, so I don't know. It shouldn't have shown up in the tally because it wouldn't have been run through the card. So that's just a mistake of me including it in the business receipts. So I might have to try to squiggle that out in the PDF, which it'll probably charge me for. So then we have the 218 we had the receipt for. And then this one, the first one of the year, was also paid personally. And then I was reimbursed directly would be my guess. So stuff returned. So we're good that we'll only really have, well, honestly, just two business transactions. Well, let's see here. No, this one shouldn't have been on there. So I don't know. Can we mark it? Scribble it out. So we used our trade account for this to get a discount, but it really was not a trade situation. So we want to save this down. How do we save it down? Will it let us save it at all? Let's do that. And save over the customer receipts. Plant supply receipts. Yep, save over it. Thank you. Okay, so that one was not valid. I thought we still had two. Didn't we see two that were? But no, this was all in one purchase. So it was two products in one purchase for a customer. So I think that gets us in pretty good shape there. And we have accounted for all the 2024 orders. I wonder, what did we do to get a copy of this before? Because that is kind of handy, right? We might as well do it. Let's save it as a PDF. Like it's a little redundant, but we can do that. So it's a little redundant, but that's okay. It'll give us a breakdown. I wish I could put some notes in here too. Wouldn't that be nice? So that is a convenient feature there. And then Amazon, guys, Amazon. Let's just take a look and see if we saved anything for Amazon. Just gonna pop in here. So I have business account. These will be my mass summaries out. This says, oh, okay, so this is the official statement from the bank. And yep, same deal. So we have no receipts there. The receipts could be mixed in. They might not be. Looks like we're mostly sticking with the two accounts and official business checking accounts. Got some dividend card in here for some reason. That's a personal checking or credit card, so it shouldn't have been needed in there. Thank you for your purchase. Dot networking. Okay, we're gonna probably need that too. Because I did buy some dot cards and stuff. And that would have been put in as a business expense of some sort, so hopefully it's there. Don't know if we need to know when that happened. We're just going to want it to be meaning. You don't need the thank you for the purchasing. We just need the year. You think it's checkout or is it a receipt? It should be a receipt, but right. Go to August. Let's take a look at what we're sitting at here. We have two files here. So the official documents I always like to keep outside. Those are the ones you submit, and then inside are the support documents in a separate folder, and then you can zip them together if you want. And it looks like, okay, so we have some receipts that we should probably put together. The dot networking, I think I put it in advertising, and so I don't see any other advertising thing in here. Except for our general breakout of categories up here. So it probably does need to stay separate. These are income with the checks that we could combine them into one file if we wanted to. These other things, I think it helps that they're separate. Dot networking. The interesting thing is that the lead sources would be, I think, the only other thing falling in that category. And then it looks like I'm not saving an electronic bill out for Better Business Bureau, so I'm not sure what's happening with that. Give me a second. Yeah, okay, I just checked my email and there's no receipt emailed to me. So I don't think I pay it annually. I think I pay it monthly. And it definitely shows up in the bank account, but it looks like they don't bother to send back a receipt. So that's why the bank account is really a lot of times a better source for the money flow. And it usually tracks pretty well, though sometimes you'll get some weird names coming in. But the leads are labeled very well. And even the membership to Angie's is labeled different, so you can detect it from being a lead. Also, the price is wildly different. And then the BBB shows up, my insurance shows up, and what else do we have like that? Okay, Bluehost would be the other thing. Do I have invoices from Bluehost? I don't know if we're not still logged in apparently. I don't know why it thinks I have 100 passwords. I really don't think I have 3 accounts to this. Understand? Don't care. Where do we think that receipts would be? Here on my profile. My payment methods. Order history, probably. That's what we need. Bad news, guys. There's not a lot of detail on this. WordPress basic hosting, and the domain. That's on 23 though. I was still setting stuff up. So I wonder if we can, yeah, export the invoices. Thank you. Look at that. Great stuff. Let's export invoices. Yep, that looks pretty good, right? Sorry, guys. This is a nightmare. All the things that are too secure. Okay, to me that looks pretty good. So this is going to be 2024 Bluehost and WordPress tech receipts. So I forget what they call this. It's in a category. So order history. I don't know why 2 screens like that. Okay, so we handled the tech support stuff. So you can see this is how I have been organizing my tax files. Ignore those floaties down there. We need to check and see what's going on. These are scans of taxes my mom did for me, I think. So they're really, really old. And then I have every year's kick out. And usually there's not a lot for supporting documents. It's like scanning the W-2 and things like that. So when you're just doing easy taxes, it's not that big a deal to add in your little supplemental forms that you get in the mail. These last 2 years are the years with my business, and so they are much fuller. The other thing that we would need is these are low income years. Before that, these I did have a few kind of randomly, but these 2 years I've been contributing to an IRA, and so you would also need some proof of your contribution to an IRA in order to get that particular, I forget which category that falls into, but you get a credit if you're not earning enough and you contribute to an IRA. And so those 2 years that was going on. This year, I can't remember. I think my tax base was above the poverty line, but not quite. It's definitely nowhere close to what I had before. And I think that one I wouldn't have qualified, but these 2 years I did qualify. And so you got to go back to proving that, which was so easy. You had something like T. Rowe Price. My current place, I don't get receipts like that. So hold on a second, let me check. Okay, so it did take a little bit of filtering, and I have these two documents here. It actually shows what I've already contributed for 2025 as well on that sheet, but it's very clearly indicated which one was for 2024 and which one was for 2025 in there. So I did find those. I went ahead and threw it in here as well because that's applicable for that year. And then for the previous year, I would need to do something similar. And I think we've officially covered everything. So that is really how I like to organize this. And then at the end, I pack it all up. This whole tax folder basically wouldn't change, but if I know I'm doing these 2 years, for instance, I would go in and copy these into the mirror hard drive, which has essentially a backup of all of this, but you'll notice this is also backing up to the OneDrive. So I have a little bit of time lag to be able to do that. So it's actually in 3 places. It's on this computer, it's on a mirrored hard drive that I don't use very often, and then it's also out here on OneDrive. And I should pull some of this older stuff off of OneDrive and just let it live only in the mirror drive and probably not here. We could go here and unselect older ones like but we don't need really to keep this older stuff, and I also need to dump more of the older stuff into this. You'll also see I've added taxes, and that's to make it more searchable. So here it's in a tax folder, but it doesn't say taxes, therefore if I were to search 2024 taxes, it will probably come up, but it'll come up later on. So here you see I'd have to say 1999 tax, not taxes. So that is simplified taxes for you. And so for you, that's 7 years. Let's just go ahead and drag them to the older file now. So we're clearing this up a little bit, and then I might just, this just moved and I don't know why. Its name changed, so it shouldn't have trouble with it. It looks like that was the only thing causing trouble here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the classic 7 years back, and we of course have more. So yeah, so this is like a scan of the support documents. So in that case, I didn't do a folder, but it's doing the same kind of system. So yeah, that is the end of really my filing system for tax documents. And then, like I said, I mirror that to a hard drive and it's also actively saved in the cloud. Hopefully you found something useful in here. And I look forward to showing you more and discussing other systems to go digital with your paperwork. Bye.